Hello everyone, I'm Ramita, AVP Science and Tech and convener of TED Club, DCM Presidency School, Ludhiana. I am here with second round of TED Talks. Today, our speakers will be talking about evolution and adaptability. How we react in specific circumstances, I believe, depends more on our ability to adapt. And once we adapt in those specific circumstances, it's not only about us or human beings, it's about any species that exist on Earth. Whether you look at microbes, plants, animals, even human beings. Once we adapt in specific circumstances, that's when I believe the process of evolution starts. Now I call our next speaker, Sanvi Gupta from Class 7 Carnation, who will be talking about the role of energy transfer, which is another important aspect of evolution. Over to you, Sanvi.
Good morning everyone. Myself Samni Gupta from class 7 Carnation will explain how food chain helps in maintaining the flow of energy. Let's start. On earth, from the tiniest of organisms to the largest of creatures, every living thing needs energy to survive. So the question is, where does that energy comes from? All living organisms get their energy through the food they eat. So a food chain is a simple representation of the flow of energy in nature. As we all know, the sun is the ultimate source of energy on the earth. The sun's energy reaches the earth in the form of heat and light, and plants capture some of it to prepare their food through the process called photosynthesis. As plants make their own food, they are called producers. So, every food chain must begin with a producer. For example, grass. Just because animals cannot prepare their own food, they depend on other sources for their energy. So, they are called consumers. When an animal eats plants, some of the energy of the plant gets transferred to the animal's body, which helps it in moving, growing, breathing, etc. So, a herbivore is called a primary consumer. For example, deer. Next comes the secondary consumer, a carnivore. They depend on other animals for their energy. Maybe a deer can be eaten by a tiger, so some of the energy of the deer gets transferred to the tiger's body. So the question is, where the energy of the tiger will get transferred? Animals like lions, tigers, vultures, etc. are called apex predators as they cannot be hunted or killed by any other animal. When these animals die, their bodies are broken down by decomposers like bacteria and fungi into humus, which again gets mixed with the soil and helps the plants to grow at the beginning of the food chain. So, this is the circle of the flow of energy in our ecosystem. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanvi. That was a wonderful presentation on role of energy transfer in food chain and food web. Now, we have our next young speaker, Asin, from class 6. Asin is a space enthusiast and she will be talking about evolution of space and how space started from Big Bang.
Hello everyone, I am Asim of Class 6 TedEd from DCM Presidency School, Ludhiana, Punjab. Today I am going to tell you about evolution of space. Our universe began with the explosion of Big Bang. The first star to be appeared was Methuselah. Soon after, in a cosmic scale, the first black hole started forming. The cosmic dust and matter began ionizing, helping to form new stars. In the end, it led to thousands and then millions of stars appearing in space. The universe, left cold after the initial enormous explosion, started heating up again in about 100 million years. Stars began forming clusters which we know as galaxies. The earliest of them didn't include any planets, though it was still too soon for matter to shape into something so big and solid. So, galaxies mainly consisted of stars and interstellar gas. The oldest ones are believed to have been born in a relatively small patch of sky called Hubble Ultra Deep Field, named so after the Hubble Space Telescope. It includes over 10,000 galaxies. After some time, the first known exoplanet was born. It was also dubbed Methuselah for its incredibly old age. It's moving in the orbit of two stars at once located 12,500 light years away from the Earth, which then didn't even exist. Soon after, though, the Milky Way finally began taking shape. A home galaxy is a bed spiral, which means it has a bar at center and several arms and tops of one of those our solar system would eventually be born. Now, it's no more than a roughly circular blob though. The Milky Way started forming only about 200 million years after the Big Bang, like many other galaxies. But only now it's becoming closer to what we know and love. At the same time, millions of other glaciers burst into existence with stars and planets clustering together. About 11.5 billion years ago, a peculiar planet popped up. Captain B is the oldest known exoplanet, uncannily similar to our Earth and everything. Nobody knows if it's inhabited, but it sure can be. It had more than enough time to develop lives. Although spiral is the most common type of galaxy out there, we know the name of probably the oldest one. It's BX 442. Its light reaches us across 10.7 billion years. At the same time, the rate at which stars were appearing across the universe reached its peak. Every second, thousands upon thousands of new stars would burst into existence, immediately starting to gravitate towards each other, forming clusters and then later becoming galaxies. At this point, the temperature of the universe slowly began to fall. Until now, it was hotter than the sun's surface and quite dense. But starting 11 billion years ago, it all changed. Powerful galactic cores and newborn stars stopped sending out so much energy into space, and first metal-rich stars began to appear. Metals made them cool down at a higher rate. So the universe stepped on its track to become habitable. Thank you.
Thank you, Asim. Now, we have our next speaker, Arjasman Saha. He will be talking about the importance of adaptation and how different species adapt in their surroundings for their survival.
A very good morning to all. I am Archishman Shah of class 7th. Today I am going to speak on the topic importance of adaptations. Adaptation is the physical or behavioral characteristic of an organism that helps an organism to survive better in the surrounding environment. Habitat is a place where a particular type or species of plant or animal lives or is normally found in nature. Living things are adapted to the habitat they live in. This is because they have special features that help them to survive. Animals possess special features to protect themselves from the extreme weather condition, like the polar bear has two thick layers of fur as well as a layer of fat under their skin named as blubber to keep itself warm in the harsh weather conditions. Adaptation is essential for the survival of all living organisms. Adaptations such as camouflage protect animals from their predators. Adaptations make it possible for a variety of creatures to thrive on the planet Earth. Adaptation of organisms differ depending on their place of dwellings. That is why a monkey cannot live in a polar region, nor a polar bear can live in the tropical rainforest, and plants such as mosses and short-leaf flowering plants grow in the polar region only. Let us take an example of the big cats such as lions and tigers, which are carnivores, that is, eat only flesh of other animals. They live in the tropical rainforest and these adaptations help them to survive. They have thick skin color which help them to camouflage, which is ability of the animal to blend or match with their surrounding. For example, a chameleon. The yellow-brown color of lion and black stripes of tiger help them to hide in the forest by blending themselves with the surrounding. It helps these carnivores to catch their prey. They also have a well-developed sensitive hearing capacity to find its prey and to stay alert from the predators. They have a strong sense of smell which helps them to locate their prey. They have eyes located in front of their head which enables them to have a correct idea of the location of their prey. They also have a good eyesight. Their strong leg help them to run fast and long. They have sharp and strong claws in front of their legs which help them to catch and tear their prey. So now we can understand the importance of adaptation for the survival of every living organism. Thank you.
Thank you, Arjasman. You have very well put into words that how different species use their features to adapt into their surroundings and use it for their survival. Now, the last speaker of today's TED Talk is Arnav Lat from class 8. Arnav will be talking about evolution of human species, various human species, and the common ancestors between humans and monkeys.
Hello everyone, I am Arnav of class 8B DCM Presidency School. I am going to tell you about evolution. Evolution is the process by which living organisms evolve from earlier to much simpler organisms. According to the British scientist Charles Darwin, evolution depends on a process called natural selection. Natural selection results in the increased reproductive capacities of an organism that are best suited for the conditions they are living in. Darwin's theory was that organism evolves as a result of many slight changes over a course of time. During prehistory, writing was not yet developed, but much important information on prehistory is obtained through studies of the fossil fuels and fossil records. But now, how did humans evolve? Humans are primates, which are mammals. Around lifestyle meaning they used to live in trees. Great apes are also quadrupeds, which means they move around on the ground with four legs. The other group evolved in a different way. They became terrestrial, meaning they now live on land and not on trees. From being quadrupeds 10 to 12 million years ago, the ancestral primates lineage split through specifications from one common ancestor into two major groups. These two lineages evolved separately to become a variety of species we have today. Members of one group were the earlier version of what we know today as the great apes. That is, the modern great apes are evolved from this ancestral group. They mostly remained in the forest with an arboreal. They evolved to bipeds, meaning they now move around on their two back legs. In addition to this, the size of their brain increased. This is the group that through evolution gave rise to the humans. Many fossils found in Africa are from a genus named Australopithecus, which means southern ape. This genus is extinct, but fossil studies revealed interesting features about their adaptation towards a terrestrial lifestyle. Also, the DNA of chimpanzee is the closest match to human DNA. Thank you.
Thank you, Arnav, for talking about evolution of human. This was just the beginning. We can talk as long as we want. So with this, we have come to end of our TED Talk. But before leaving, I would want to talk to you about an amazing creature, which I believe is the best example of adaptability and evolution. Before introducing that organism, I would want to know. I would want to talk about a cartoon character, SpongeBob SquarePants. I hope as a child you would have seen those cartoons. Let me just share my screen. All right. So this cartoon character, SpongeBob SquarePants, this cartoon character actually resembles an organism which exists in sea, which collectively they make coral reefs. And on the right hand side, you can see this organism as well. These are sponges. The reason I'm talking about sponges here because these are an amazing example of adaptability and evolution. These are the creatures who, this is another type of sponge. These are the creatures who have survived five mass extinction. And the reason of their survival is in the simplicity of their structures. These are multicellular organisms. They have no organ systems in their bodies. They have no nervous system, digestive system, circulatory systems. They do not have any kind of these kind of uh, any type of these kind of organ systems. Rather, they have just tube-like structures. They have porous bodies. They allow water to flow through it, and while water would be flowing through it, they obtain their oxygen and their food from them. These organisms have amazing ability to resist, when temperature increases, to survive in increased temperatures, and as well as to survive when the oxygen level drops down. This is the way these sponges have survived five mass extinctions. I believe this is the best example of adaptability, evolution, and survival. Thank you so much.